Ladies and gentlemen, why would you read the DMV Handbook when you can have somebody read it for you? In this video we begin traffic controls. It's important to know the DMV rules. Traffic signal lights. Do you know what a solid red light is? Well, a red traffic signal light means stop. You can make a right turn against a red traffic signal light after you stop. Yield to pedestrians, bicyclists, and vehicles close enough to be a hazard. Make the right turn only when it's safe. Do not if a no turn on red sign is posted. Now what about the red arrow? A red arrow means stop. Remain stopped until the green signal or green arrow appears, and do not turn against a red arrow. What about a flashing red light? Do you know what a flashing red light is? What it means? Well, a flashing red traffic signal light means stop. And after stopping, you may proceed when it's safe, so observe the right-of-way rules. What about a solid yellow light? A yellow traffic signal means caution, caution. The red traffic signal light is about to appear next. When you see the yellow traffic signal light, stop if you can do so safely. If you cannot stop safely, cross the intersection cautiously. Yellow arrow. A yellow arrow means protected. Turning time period is ending. Be prepared to obey the next traffic signal light, which could be green or red traffic signal light or a red arrow. Now what about a flashing yellow light? Well, a flashing yellow traffic signal light warns you to proceed with caution. Slow down, be alert before entering the intersection. Yield to pedestrians, bicyclists, or vehicles in the intersection. You do not need to stop for a flashing yellow light. What about a flashing yellow arrow? The traffic signal light means turn or turns are permitted. But you must first yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians and then proceed with caution. So it means you can turn, but you must yield and wait till it's safe. Now what about a solid green? Solid green. Give the right of way to any vehicle, bicyclists, or pedestrians in the intersection. A green traffic signal light means go. If you are turning left, make the turn only if you have enough space to complete the turn before creating a hazard for any oncoming vehicle, bicyclist, or pedestrian. Do not enter the intersection if you cannot get completely across the traffic signal before the traffic signal light turns red. If you block the intersection, you can be cited. Now what about a green arrow? A green arrow means go. You must turn in the direction of the arrow is pointing after you yield to any vehicle, bicyclist, or pedestrian in the intersection. The green arrow only makes a protected turn. Oncoming vehicles, bicyclists, and pedestrians are stopped by a red traffic signal light as long as the green arrow is lighted. So when you have a green arrow, the other people have a red arrow. Traffic signal light's not working. If there's a blackout, what do you do? Well, the traffic signal light is not working and or no lights are showing on the signal. Proceed cautiously as if the intersection is controlled by stop signs in all directions. Now what about pedestrian signal lights? Pedestrian traffic signal lights show words or pictures similar to the following examples. Well, you can see a walk sign or a person look like he's walking, or a do not walk sign in letters, or a red hand. Now the walk sign or walking person traffic signal light means it's illegal to cross the street. A don't walk or a raised hand traffic signal light means you may not start crossing the street. Okay, well what about a flashing do not walk sign or a flashing raised hand? Well, this traffic signal light means do not start crossing the street because the traffic signal light is about to change. If a pedestrian begins crossing the street after the traffic signal light starts flashing, wait until the pedestrian has crossed the street before proceeding. Okay, what about countdown traffic signal lights? Indicate how many seconds remain in the crossing. So you might get a 10, 9, 8, 7. These traffic signal lights allow pedestrians the flexibility to speed up if the crossing phase is about to expire. Now pedestrian phases, which are also called pedestrian scrambles. These are a series of crisscross diagonal crosswalks that allow pedestrians to cross in any direction at the same time, including diagonally across the intersection. These signals stops all vehicle traffic during the scramble phase. Some traffic lights may provide a beeping or chirping sound or a verbal message. These traffic signal lights are designed to help blind or visually impaired pedestrians cross the street. Now, at many traffic signal lights, you need to push the pedestrian push button to activate the walk or walking person traffic signal light. If there are no pedestrian signals, obey the traffic signal lights. Okay, traffic signs. Let's learn traffic signs. The shape and color of a sign offers you a clear clue about the information contained on the sign. Here are the common shapes used. An 8-sided red stop sign indicates that you must make a full stop whenever you see the sign. Stop at the white line or before entering the crosswalk. If a limit line or a crosswalk is not painted on the street, stop before entering the intersection. And check traffic in all directions before you proceed. Okay, here's some more signs. A red and white regulatory signs. This sign means no U-turn. This sign means no left turn. This sign means no right turn. Basically has an arrow pointing in a direction with a red circle and a hash mark through it. Okay, let's learn white regulatory signs. Take a look here. They'll have a white sign with black letters with information like no turns, do not block intersection, do not pass, slower traffic, keep right. Just follow the directions on these signs. Now here's some construction signs. Yellow diamond-shaped signs, a diamond shape that are yellow with black letters that says through traffic, merge left, road closed ahead, etc. Just follow the directions. There's some guide signs like an airplane or a skier, rest area, etc. Quite obvious. Hazard signs, slow-moving vehicle signs. Make sure you're familiar with what these signs mean. A yellow sign with a diamond shape with a car and squiggly marks means it's a slippery road when wet. Arrows, etc. Study the signs. You probably already know what all these signs mean. Quite obvious here, but take a look at your screen. And for more information, go to the dot.ca.gov or the dmv.gov. Okay, let's talk about a 3-sided red yield sign. Do you know what a yield sign is? Well, it looks like a red triangle that's turned upside down, and it says yield in the middle. It indicates that you must slow down and be prepared to stop, if necessary, to let any vehicle, bicyclist, or pedestrian pass you as you proceed. So a yield sign means slow down and cross with caution. Yield to other traffic. Okay, what about a do not enter? Do not enter. It's a red square and white regulatory sign. This indicates that you must follow the sign's instructions. For example, do not enter sign means do not enter the road or off-ramp when the sign is posted. There's also a wrong way sign. A wrong way sign may not be posted with the do not enter sign. If you see one or both of these signs, drive to the side of the road and stop. You are going against traffic. And when safe, back out or turn around and return to the road. And at night, if you're going the wrong way, the road reflectors will shine red in your headlights. A sign that has a red circle with a red line through it indicates no. The picture inside the circle shows what you cannot do. Okay, there's a railroad crossing sign. This indicates that you are approaching a railroad crossing. You must look, listen, slow down, and prepare to stop if necessary. Let any trains pass before you proceed. Okay, there's also many other signs. Now let's talk about the laws and rules of the road. This is very important. Follow me now. Laws and rules of the road. Who has the right-of-way rules? General information. Right-of-way rules, together with courtesy and common sense, help to promote traffic safety. Never assume other drivers will give you the right-of-way. Yield your right-of-way when it helps to prevent a collision. Let's work together, people. It is important to respect the right-of-way of others, especially pedestrians, motorcycle, and bicycle riders. Respecting the right-of-way of others is not limited to situations such as yielding to pedestrians in crosswalks or watching carefully to ensure the right-of-way bicyclists and motorcycles. Motorists must respect the right-of-way of others by not violating traffic laws, such as failing to stop at a stop sign or traffic light, speeding, making unsafe lane changes, or illegal turns. Now, statistics show that right-of-way violations cause a high percentage of injury collisions in California. Pedestrians. Pedestrian safety is a serious issue. Now, a pedestrian is a person who walks on foot or who uses a conveyance such as a roller skates or a skateboard, etc. Now, these are other than bicyclists. Now, a pedestrian can also be a person with a disability using a tricycle, wheelchair, or wheelchair. Now, in California, pedestrian deaths, people die, and pedestrians, and they occur 22% of all traffic fatalities are pedestrians. Drive cautiously when pedestrians are near because they may suddenly cross your path or walk out in the middle of the street. Pedestrians may be at risk walking near hybrid or electric vehicles because these vehicles are virtually silent while operating. Use extra caution while driving near pedestrians. Let's talk about respect. Respect the right-of-way to pedestrian. Always stop at a pedestrian crossing at corners of or other crosswalks. Even if the crosswalk is in the middle of the block, at corners with or without traffic signal lights, whether or not the crosswalks are marked by painted lines. Do not pass a vehicle stopped at a crosswalk. A pedestrian you cannot see may be crossing the street. Stop and proceed when all pedestrians have crossed the street. Do not drive on a sidewalk, except to cross it to enter or exit a driveway or alley. Now, when crossing, yield to any pedestrian who may be on the sidewalk. Do not stop in a crosswalk. You will place pedestrians in danger. Remember, if a pedestrian makes eye contact with you, he or she is ready to cross the street. Yield to the pedestrian. Allow older pedestrians or disabled pedestrians and pedestrians with young children sufficient time to cross the street. Obey signs pertaining to pedestrians, and some examples may include these signs here. Now, important. Blind pedestrians rely on the sound of your vehicle to become aware of your vehicle's presence. At the sound of pedestrian signal to know when you are able to safely cross the street. It is important that you stop your vehicle within 5 feet of the crosswalk. Drivers of hybrid or electric vehicles must remain especially aware that the lack of their engine noise may cause a blind person to assume that there is no vehicle nearby. So follow this cue. When a blind person pulls in his or her cane and steps away from the intersection, this gesture usually means for you to go. So when a blind person pulls in and puts away the cane, the blind white cane, this usually means you're good to go. Now, additional information regarding blind pedestrians can be found in this video playlist on page 61. Okay, crosswalks. A crosswalk is the part of the roadway set aside for pedestrian traffic. Most intersections have a pedestrian crosswalk, whether or not lines are painted on the street. Most crosswalks are located at corners, but they can also be located in the middle of the block. Now, before turning a corner, watch for pedestrians who are about to cross the street. Pedestrians have the right-of-way in marked or unmarked crosswalks. Although pedestrians have the right-of-way, they also must abide by the rules of the road. Now, a pedestrian should not suddenly leave a curb or other place of safety and cross into the path of a moving vehicle and create a hazard. Furthermore, a pedestrian must not stop unnecessarily or delay traffic while they're in the crosswalk. If you approach a crosswalk while driving, you are required to exercise caution and reduce your speed to safeguard the safety of the pedestrians. You may need to stop to ensure the safety of the pedestrian, as outlined in the Vehicle Code 21950. Crosswalks are often marked with white lines. Now, yellow crosswalk lines may be painted at school crossings. Most often, crosswalks in residential areas are not marked. Some crosswalks have flashing lights to warn you that pedestrians may be crossing. So look for pedestrians and be prepared to stop, whether or not the lights are flashing. Intersections. An intersection is any place where one line of the road meets another roadway. Intersections include cross streets, side streets, alleys, freeway entrances, and any other location where vehicles traveling on different highways or roads join together. Driving through an intersection is one of the most complex traffic situations motorists will encounter. Intersection collisions account for more than 45% of all reported crashings and 21% of fatalities, according to the Federal Highway Administration. So at an intersection, when you're at an intersection and there's no stop or yield signs, slow down and be ready to stop. Yield to traffic and pedestrians already in the intersection or just entering the intersection. Also, yield to the vehicle or bicycle that arrives first, or to the vehicle or bicycle on your right if it reaches the intersection at the same time as you. Now at T intersections, if there's no stop or yield sign, yield to the traffic and pedestrians on the through road. They have the right-of-way. When you turn left, give the right-of-way to all vehicles approaching that are close enough to be dangerous. Also look for motorcyclists, bicyclists, and pedestrians. And here's a safety suggestion. While waiting to turn left, keep your wheels pointed straight ahead until it's safe to start your turn. If your wheels are pointed to the left and a vehicle hits you from behind, you could be pushed into the oncoming traffic. When you turn right, be sure to check for pedestrians who want to cross the street and bicyclists are riding next to you. On divided highways or highways with several lanes, watch for vehicles coming in any lane you cross. Turn either left or right only when it is safe. When there are stop signs at all corners, stop first and then allow the rules listed above. If you have parked on the side of the road or are leaving a parking lot, etc., yield to traffic before re-entering the road. Now, what about roundabouts? A roundabout is an intersection where traffic travels around a central island in a counterclockwise direction. A roundabout, these do not have bicycle lanes, so traffic must share the road. Vehicles or bicycles entering or exiting the roundabout must yield to all traffic, including pedestrians. When you approach a roundabout, slow down as you approach, yield to pedestrians and bicyclists, watch for signs on pavement markings that guide you or prohibit you from certain movements. Okay, enter the roundabout when there's a big enough gap in traffic to merge safely. Travel in a counterclockwise direction. Do not stop or pass. Signal when you change lanes or exit the roundabout. If you miss your exit, continue going around until you return to the exit. Now for roundabouts with multiple lanes, choose your entry or exit lane based on your destination as shown in this graphic here. For example, to turn right at an intersection, choose the right-hand lane and exit in the right-hand lane. For example, go straight through the intersection, choose either lane and exit in the lane you entered. To turn left, choose the left lane and exit. Okay, let's talk about on mountain roads. Now, when two vehicles meet on a steep road where neither vehicle can pass the other, the vehicle that's facing downhill must yield the right-of-way by backing up until the vehicle going uphill can pass. The vehicle facing downhill has the greater amount of control when backing up the hill. Okay, let's reread that. Okay, so when two vehicles meet on a steep road, so say one person's going up a hill, the other person's coming down a hill, and they're on a steep hill. The vehicle who's going down the hill, they must yield the right-of-way by backing up. So they must, if it's a one-lane road and one person's going down, one person's coming up, what are you going to do? Well, the person who's facing down, going down the hill, that's the person who has to back up. The vehicle facing downhill has greater amount of control when backing up the hill. Because when you're backing down a hill, you have less control. Okay, speed limits. California has a basic speed limit law. This law means that you may never drive faster than it is safe for current conditions. For example, if you're driving 45 miles per hour in a 55 zone during dense fog, you may be cited for driving too fast for the conditions. Now, regardless of the posted speed limit, your speed should depend on the number of speed of other vehicles in the road. Okay, so you must keep with the flow of traffic. It should also depend on whether the road surface is smooth, rough, graveled, wet, dry, wide, or narrow. Also, bicyclists or pedestrians on the crossing the roadway. Now, whether it's raining, foggy, snowy, windy, or dusty. Let's talk about maximum speed limits. The maximum speed limit on most California highways is 65 miles per hour. You may drive 70 where it's posted. Unless otherwise posted, the maximum speed limit is 55. Now, on a 2-lane undivided highway and for other vehicles who tow trailers, when towing, 55 miles per hour usually. Other speed limit signs are posted for the type of road and travel in each area. All speed limits are based on ideal driving conditions. Construction zones usually have reduced speed limits. High speeds contribute to traffic injuries and collisions. The faster your vehicle is moving when involved in a collision, the more likely a collision will end with either injury or death. High speed increases your stopping distance. It takes longer to stop. The faster you go, the less time you have to avoid a hazard. Reduced speeds. Heavy traffic or bad weather. You must drive slower when there is heavy traffic or bad weather. However, if you block the normal and reasonable movement of traffic by driving too slow, you may be cited. If you choose to drive slower than other traffic, do not drive in the number 1 lane or the fast lane. Listen to page 37 in this video playlist for more info on that. Now, when another driver is close behind you and wishes to drive faster, you should move to the right lane. Let's talk about towing vehicles or buses or large trucks. When you tow a vehicle or trailer or drive a bus or 3-axle or more vehicle, you must drive in the rightmost lane or in a lane specifically marked for the slower vehicles. Now, if no lanes are marked and there are 4 lanes or more in your direction, you may only drive in either of the 2 lanes closest to the right edge of the road. Pedestrians, bicyclists, or other vehicles alongside you may experience sudden strong winds when passing or being passed. So slow down and pass safely, and pass only at a safe distance, which is typically 3 feet or more for bicyclists. All right, driving around children. When driving 500 to 1,000 feet from a school while children are outside or crossing the street, the speed limit is 25 miles per hour unless otherwise posted. Also, if the school grounds have no fence and children are outside, never drive faster than 25 miles per hour. Some school zones may have speed limits as low as 15 miles per hour. Always drive slowly and carefully near schools, playgrounds, parks, and residential areas because children may suddenly run into the street. Also, many children have not yet developed the ability to judge the speed and distance well enough to cross the street safely when cars are moving fast. So near schools, look for bicyclists and pedestrians. Look for school safety patrol and cross guards. Be sure to obey their directions. For the crossing guard's safety, allow him or her the safety to get to the side of the road before driving ahead. Stop school buses and children crossing the street. Watch for them. Watch for some school buses flashing yellow lights when prepared to stop and let children off the bus. The yellow flashing lights warn you to slow down and prepare to stop. When the bus flashes red lights, which are located at the top, front, and the back of the bus, you must stop from either direction until the children are safely across the street and the lights stop flashing. Now, the law requires you remain stopped as long as the red lights are flashing. That's a vehicle code 22454. If you fail to stop, you may be fined up to $1,000 and your driving privileges could be suspended for an entire year. If the school bus is on the other side of a divided highway with 2 or more lanes in each direction, you do not need to stop. So I'll read that again. If the school bus is on the other side of a divided or multi-lane highway, 2 or more lanes in each direction, you do not need to stop. Now, blind intersections. The speed limit for a blind intersection is 15 miles per hour. An intersection is considered blind if there are no stop signs at any corner and you cannot see for 100 feet in either direction during the last 100 feet before crossing. Trees, bushes, buildings, or parked cars at intersections can block your view to the side. If your view is blocked, move slowly forward until you can see. Alleys. The speed limit in any alley is 15 miles per hour. Near railroad tracks. Near railroad tracks, the speed limit is 15 miles per hour within 100 feet of a railroad crossing where you cannot see the tracks for 400 feet in both directions. You may drive faster than 15 miles per hour if the crossing is controlled by gates, a warning signal, or a flagman at railroad train crossings. At railroad train crossings, look in both directions and listen for trains. Many crossings have multiple tracks, so be ready to stop before crossing if necessary. Cross railroad tracks only at designated crossing and only when it is safe to do so. Expect a train on any track at any time, traveling in either direction. If you need to stop after crossing the tracks, wait until you can completely cross the tracks before proceeding. Make sure your vehicle clears the tracks before you stop. Never stop on the railroad tracks. Remember that a train cannot stop quickly or swerve out of the way. If you are on the tracks, you risk injury or death. Watch for vehicles that must stop before they cross train tracks. These vehicles include buses, school buses, and trucks transporting hazardous materials. Remember that flashing red signal lights means stop. Stop at least 15 feet, but no more than 50 feet from the nearest track when crossing devices are active or a person warns you a train is coming. Stop if you see a train coming or you hear a whistle, horn, or bell at an approaching train track. Do not go under the lowered gates or around the lowered gates. Flashing red warning lights indicate you must stop and wait. Do not proceed over the railroad tracks until the red lights stop flashing, even if the gate raises. If the gates are lowered and you do not see a train approaching, call the posted railroad emergency toll-free number or 911. Be ready to give a detailed description of your location. Light rail transit vehicle crossings. The same rules apply to light rail transit vehicle crossings as to train crossings. Do not proceed across the tracks until you can see clearly in both directions and are sure that there are no light rail transit vehicles or trains coming. Do not go around or under any lowered gate. Note: light rail transit vehicles are very quiet and accelerate more quickly than trains. Streetcars, trolleys, or buses. The passing speed limit, when safe to pass, is no more than 10 miles per hour. This speed limit applies at a safety zone or an intersection where a streetcar, trolley, or bus is stopped and traffic is controlled by a peace officer or traffic signal light. A safety zone is marked by raised buttons or markers on the road. See this picture. And it is set aside for pedestrians. You will most often see safety zones in areas where streetcars or trolleys and vehicles share the road. Business or residential districts. The speed limit is 25 miles per hour unless otherwise posted. Okay, let's talk about driving with animals or near animals. If you see a sign with a picture of an animal, like this sign here with a picture of a deer, be alert for the possibility of animals in or near the roadway. If you see animals or livestock near the roadway, slow down and proceed with caution. Be sure to follow directions from the person in charge of the animals. If you see a stray animal in your path, slow down or stop if it's safe. Do not swerve, as you may lose control of your vehicle and cause an accident. Be aware of sudden movements from the animals as they are unpredictable and may run into the roadway. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of this video. We'll start the next video at page 33. Thank you so much and safe driving on the road.